Welcome to Board Gaming with Austin. Today I'm going to be providing you a detailed rules video on the board game Zoo Tiles Hime. It's a board game created by Zoo Studios and it plays in 25 to 50 minutes. It's for two players. It's a battle head on. This is the starter one set. Starter set 1 created in 2020. I believe they have starter set 2, came out in 2021. And then right now they're working on the Fruit Baskets version, which I'm looking forward to. This is a game where you're going head to head with these different zodiacs of the Chinese zodiac. This is Japanese themed with anime, but you're going head to head. And that's pretty much all the detailed information or the information I'm going to give you about the game, because this is going to be a very detailed rules video. The rules themselves are very, very bad. I gave them a 1 star in the review. I have other videos about this game. So I would highly suggest watching this video. And I'm going to kind of follow along at the very beginning of the rules, and then I'm going to start branching off on my own. After I explain the setup of the game, I'm going to start really just belting off the different rules and things that you can do in this game and actions. And then at the end of the video, or I'm probably going to create another video where I actually go over every action that you have on these tiles and what they do. Let's begin. All right, so you guys have to listen to my script real quick. I created a small little script just to get you started on this. So the winning condition for this game is you win 12 points, or you be the last one to run out of your tiles. So you set up this game. Set 1 has 2 decks. Each 40 tile deck is marked by the code on the bottom center of the tile, right here. All 40 tiles that begin with THD go to one player, which are these. And all tiles that begin with RDR go to the other player. And then you want to give 1 action tile and 1 reaction tile to each player, and they place them off the side of their to the side of the table. They don't shuffle these into their pile of 40 tiles. So you have your 40 tiles here, which are split for me right now, and the 40 tiles here. Give each player an action and reaction, and just put it off to the side. You're not going to shuffle them into these 40 cards here. These are going to be used later in the game. I'm going to explain them, but you use these in place of some of your tiles because they actually tell you to use like an action or reaction for that card, and you want to symbolize that by using this in the action stack. So randomly shuffle all 40 of these tiles, and I have them split like this so I can show you in the other video the differences. But let's say that I split them, or shuffle them. So you want to shuffle all 40 of your tiles and form 5 stacks in front of you in a line. So we'll say that these are the 5 stacks, and you want to make that as even as possible, but I'm just giving you an example. So line up in a line in front of you. The left side of this stack on your side is your discard pile. You discard your tiles here if they're removed from the game in any way, or you discard them from your hand for an action. And then the right side over here is where you put the points. Those points are going to be either your tiles or the other player's tiles. When you do collect the points, they go here. The discard cards are always going to be your tiles, and they're always going to go over here. And that matters. It's important to know that, because when you go to reset up the game, you're going to want to remove their tiles from your collection of 40 tiles. Each player is going to have the 40 tiles and restart with their specific tiles. So don't mess that up. But then you draw 5 tiles from any of these columns in any order that you choose. So you can choose 1 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can choose all 5 from this. You can choose 4 from that, 1 from this. It doesn't matter. Just get 5 tiles into your hand. And the other player is doing all this stuff the exact same way as well, by the way. So each person's hand of 40 tiles, each person's set of 40 tiles has 3 animals of the Chinese zodiac for the set 1. This set over here, THD, has dogs, tigers, and horses. The RDR set has pigs, rabbits, and... Sorry, one second. Pigs, rabbits... Whoops, they all look the same. Oh, rams. Sorry about that. All right, so when you draw 5 cards to your hand, you're going to want to look at your hand, and you're going to need to have at least one of those animals in your starting hand. If you don't have one of those animals in your starting hand, you're going to shuffle your hand back into your piles, shuffle all your piles back up, create the 5 piles, and restart with drawing 5 more tiles. If you don't have one of those animals in your starting hand again, you just start over doing that. You repeat it if necessary. So let me create 5 piles over here, just to give you an example of what it looks like. Now, I'm going to start kind of trying to follow along with this rule book, but I'm going to go into detail about every little thing. So you start your game with 5 cards in your hand, tiles in your hand. I'm just going to grab these random 5. Each player only sees their tiles. The area by you is your draw area or whatever. In the middle of the play area, and the rulebook doesn't explain this too well, this is the play area, this space right here. And the play area has 2 things going on with it. It has a section right here where you're going to be playing creatures from your hand, items or objects. Sorry, you're going to be playing tiles from your hand that have strength or intelligence on them. That's the only cards you can play to this area. But you're going to be playing those to this area, and when they're played down for the first time, they have to be adjacent to other tiles. But I'll go into more detail about that in a little. The other area that you have in this play area is this section over here. It's invisible because they really ought to have a player map for you to use. But this is the area where action tiles are going to go. Basically just an area off to the side that has space available where action stacks start going. And I'll go into detail on that more. But that's the areas that you have. Then you have these tiles over here on the side, and you kind of just grab those when you grab them. That is the entire play area. Now, the game takes place over turns. It's your turn, their turn, your turn, their turn. You do that over and over again until someone runs out of tiles here. So once you run out of tiles, the other player automatically wins. Or someone has won 12 points. Now, a point, unless the tile says otherwise, a point is 1 tile. So that means you'll have 12 tiles over here for 12 points. There is very rarely tiles that say this tile, it's specifically this set has a tile that says take the number of intelligence on all the dogs that you have in play. So if I had these 3 dogs in play, it would be 9 points of intelligence. And then you divide it by 6, so 1. And then that's how many points that card is worth. So technically, that tile could be worth 2 points, probably, if you had the right game played. So now, that's how the winning condition is and how it would look. On your turn, you can take actions in any of these ways that you want. There's 5 actions that you can take. You can take every single one of those actions. You can take none of the actions or any amount in between, but you cannot repeat any of the actions. So you can place a tile with strength and intelligence into the playing area. Again, remember, this is the playing area where you're playing the strength and intelligence tiles. So you're going to have tiles that look like this. That's a creature. The creature on the top here has a symbol that represents the type of creature it is. This is a rabbit. And then you're going to have the name of the tile, the creature. So this is a rabbit. And along the left and the right, there's small circles. And some of them will be blank, but you can see a little picture there. A little gray picture like the top left, that's a mouse. And then some of them are going to be colored in. The colored in ones means that this monster, this character, the rabbit, is compatible with those colored in circles. So this rabbit is compatible with, is that the bull, other rabbits, rams, dogs, and pigs. So that's what a normal creatures card looks like. And on the bottom left, it's going to have a strength with a number in it and an intelligence. That's pretty much the only other thing you need to know about this tile. These are creatures. These can be placed on the mat. And when you place a creature in the play area, you place it facing you, the person who played it. That's why you want to play across from each other. That just symbolizes that you have control of this tile, because there are tiles that allow you to take control of the other player's characters. All right. Now, an example of other tiles that you will come across is these. This one is considered, it does say, yeah, this is an object. So an object is a little symbol with red. It's a red circle with like lines across it, kind of look like a brick wall. You'll have objects like this, where they have a strength and an intelligence. These objects can't attack. They basically can't do anything except defend. And when they're defending, they're there to block other people from getting their points. Because remember, you get points by creating 4 2x2 squares of compatible characters. So that kind of goes there to block, and the only way to get rid of an object is to destroy it with another character that can attack. So creatures. Only creatures can attack. Items and objects can't attack. They just sit there and defend and block. So this object here has a strength of 3 and an intellect of 0. So in order to beat any creature, item, or object, the combined strengths have to be stronger than the defender's strengths, and the intelligence has to be higher than the defender's intelligence. And I'll get more into that in a little. But then there's items. And I should be able to find an item here real quick. Items aren't too abundant. Here's another example of the object card. Object tile. There's the item. So the item is symbolized by a vase. That symbol right there. So again, they usually have pretty high strength and intellect. And sometimes they have an action on them, but remember, you can't attack with them. They're just simply there to block the way. So you would play them just like a creature, just like an object. You have to play it to the play area with one of its sides touching sharing a side with another tile that's on the board. So you can't do it adjacent or vertically like that. You can't place it down like that. You can't place it off over here. You have to place it to a tile that's already on the board. That's the way you do that action, which is placing a tile. The action is placing a tile with strength and intelligence into the playing area. If it doesn't have strength and intelligence, it can't be played into this area as the play area. Now, there will be situations where you're moving tiles around and everything, and you'll have a situation where like the tiles look like this. And that's why I said they need to have a playmat, because there's technically spaces here. Like you imagine there's squares here where tiles could be moving into. So like it would say, move your rabbit, hop with the rabbit 2 spaces up. So you would hop 1 space, 2 space, and you just kind of know that that's a space based on if a square would be there. All right. I think I went into good enough detail there. So the second action is start an action stack. So some cards have what are called actions on them, and some have what are called reactions. And these aren't necessarily item cards or object cards. Some can be object cards, like this meteor here. This meteor is an action reaction tile. It says AR on the top. A is for action, R is for reaction. Some say A only, some say R only, some say AR. This turns into an object when it's played here because it has a strength and intelligence. But some don't have that option. They're only action or reaction or action reactions. So that's an action reaction. This is an example of just an action. And then there's an basically just the one with just an R on the top is a reaction. I don't think I can quickly find an example of that, but it just has the R on top right there. That's a reaction. All right, so those tiles are played during this action, this part of your turn, which is start an action stack. There's two different separate actions. One is start an action stack, the other one is start a second action stack. And the reason for that is sometimes you'll find yourself with a lot of actions in your hand. Like, look at this, 4 action reactions in my hand. You might find yourself in a situation like that, and you could really use both actions to play. So you play them off in this magical play area that I told you about as an action stack. An action stack is basically just saying there's a stack of cards here that are going to start forming, and they're actions and reactions. So you can only begin an action stack with an action or action reaction tile. There has to be an A on that tile for you to start an action stack. Now, what happens is the other player, even though it's not their turn, can decide if they want to have a reaction to this. So they look at their hand of tiles, and in this situation, they have actions, reactions, action, reactions. They can react to that player, me, starting an action stack here by placing one of their tiles that has a reaction on it on top of that. And these are all played face up for an action stack action. So that's a reaction. Now me, I can look back at my hand here and see I have action reactions. I can react to that again. They can look at their hand. They see they have a reaction left. They can react to that again. That's one action stack. As soon as we stop this action stack, no one can do any more reactions. Then you start resolving this action stack. And you do this all during the exact same action, the exact same step that you took start an action stack. So I decided I'm going to start an action stack. So I started the stack here, and I have to completely finish that stack before I move on to another action. So you start completing this stack. You finish this step by activating the card's abilities, starting with the top card and going all the way down. Whoever put that card down is the one who gets to activate that card. So they played this card, and it says, if a rabbit you control has no allies and is a defender, no new tiles can be added to this stack. Discard all tiles below. Capture the attacker and all its allies. So they would activate that. Place it to their discard area. Your tile goes to your discard area, like I said, all your tiles do. Then I reacted with this, so I activate this. And then they activated, and you go back and forth until all those tiles are gone. And the action stack action is completed. Now you might have a situation where you have so many actions in your hand, but you don't have any reactions. So you're going to want to start one action stack, and then on your next step, I'm kind of just swapping the tiles back and forth, but you would keep your tiles, they would keep theirs. But just giving you an example where on your turn, all you have is actions in your hand. So you start one action stack, you complete that action stack, and then you start your second action stack. You can't do thirds and fourth action stacks, only 2. Action stacks have to start with actions. They have to they can end with this. There could be a situation where the other player can't react to that action, and that's fine. You just complete that tile's abilities. But you might have a situation where you have exactly one action and one reaction, and you really want to play that reaction tile. But if that other person doesn't react to your action card, your action tile, then you cannot react. You can't decide to react to your own action because you're not reacting to something that someone else did. All right, so that's three steps that you can take in your turn done. Place a tile with the strength and intelligence in the middle. Start 1 or 2 action stacks. Start a battle. So this is where it gets kind of confusing a little. So I'm going to set up a little play situation here. I'm starting to get all these tiles mixed up though. Okay. So the tiger, the rabbit, the tiger and the horse are owned by my stack. That's my card. The opponent's tile is the rabbit. And then I'm just going to take these out of here so there's no confusion. We have this set up in the play area right now. So the way a battle goes down, and I'll get some tiles in my hand real quick so I can get this started. Okay. Here's an example of a battle. We both have 5 tiles in our hand. This is theirs. This is mine. On my turn, right here, this is the situation I'm confronted with. I have my 2 tiles here, and they have their tile here. If one of your tiles is sharing an entire side of an opponent's creature, item, or object, you can attack that creature, item, or object, as long as your attacking character is a creature. So this is a tiger, which is a creature. It has a strength and intelligence. Basically, it just can't be an item or an object. So this is a creature attacking this card tile here. It shares an entire side. It's not like that or anything. It's not off over here. It's sharing an entire side. So this tile is the attacker. This tile is the defender. Now, in this situation, right before anything else, you immediately want to call out who's attacking and who's an ally of the attacker, and then who's defending and who's an ally of the defender. In this situation, this tiger is attacking, the rabbit is defending, this horse over here is a ally of this tiger. So the way you have an ally for attacker is the ally tile has to share a side with the defender as well. So the attacker shares a side with the defender. This creature over here shares a side with the defender. So this one can be an ally of the attacker. The defender in this situation has no ally. But the way they would have an ally is if they have a creature of theirs that is touching the entire side of the defender. So this creature is now the ally of this defender. But in this situation, they don't. It's not. So these two would attack that. Now, what you do to begin a battle is you clarify any allies. Then you want to discard one of the tiles from your hand, or you have to. And they call these battle action stacks or battle stacks. And basically, they're the exact same thing as action stacks, except they only take place during a battle. And the reason for it is you're battling, so like you kind of have to, the negative side effect of battling is you have to discard one of your tiles. So you discard that tile off to this imaginary section over here, face down. And it can be any tile from your hand. It can be a creature, an item, an object. The reason why you play it face down is because it could technically turn the tide of battle, and you don't want the other player knowing what it is because they might affect the way they play their turn. So you play the first one down. And just like with a normal action stack, they can decide to react to this. So they put reaction tiles face up on top of this. So like they, example over here, they can take one of these action reaction and place it face up like that. That way they might be able to also turn the tide of battle in their favor with whatever action ability their tile sets. So yeah, we'll have a situation like this. So now before any actual attacking goes down, you have to resolve this battle stack over here now. Because it might actually change the battle. So like this one says, you may move a pig you control over one space into an empty space. So let's say this was happening. The reason why it's so important to do those battle stacks first is say that was a pig there, and they were attacking a pig. In this situation, when we activate this ability, we can move this over into an empty space right here. They can no longer attack me if they're not next to me. And then that would go to their discard pile, and you would flip this over and activate that. So if it's just a creature like this, there's nothing to activate. It was like a bluff tile, but you still have to discard it. In this situation, with that tile and this tile being a pig, they moved it down. No one attacks anyone. But we're going to keep it with the original. It was a bunny. So this tile is still discarded because it had no effect. You wouldn't have played that because there wasn't a pig here. But there's a bunny here, and these two have to attack the bunny now. The way you do that is you add up all of the strengths and all the intelligence of the attackers and their allies and compare it to all the strengths and combined intelligence of the defenders and their allies. So in this situation, the tiger and the horse have a combined strength of 9 and a combined intelligence of 5. The rabbit only has 1 strength and 3 intelligence. The strengths combined have to beat of the attacker, not match, but be greater than the strengths of the defender. Same with the intelligence, they have to be greater than, they cannot match. If they match, no one loses any tiles. If only one of them beat it and the other one matches, there's no winner. If both of them beat the defender, then the defender loses. The defender's tile is then removed by the winning attacker and placed as 1 point over on the right side of the winning attacker's play area. So remember, discard points. If this person, the defender, defended properly, then no one wins, no one loses any points. It just stays like this in this situation. Now, you can have situations like this where 3 attackers are attacking the same tile. You can have situations like this where 2 defenders are defending a tile. So that's battles. I think I covered everything in battles. Again, items and objects can be attacked. All they do is defend. They don't attack other players. So in a situation like that, if you had an object out there, then basically it's the defender, and it can have allies defending it as well, but it can never attack. So the same situation would go down. Everything's the exact same, but the item or the object would be the one being attacked, and it would have its own strength and intelligence. So the last thing you can do as an action is discard 2 tiles and draw 1 new tile. So you can discard any 2 tiles from your hand. This counts as an action. So you can discard 2 tiles as a way to free up your hand and draw 1 more tile. Then, finally, at the end of your turn, and every single time, no matter what you do or don't do that turn, you must draw at least 1 tile. So if you took actions that turn, you draw 1 new tile and put it into your hand. If you didn't take any actions, so none of those 5 actions, then you draw 2 tiles into your hand at the end of your turn. So yeah, in a situation where you discard 2 of your tiles to draw 1 new tile, you would still draw just 1 tile at the end of your turn. You would technically have drawn 2 tiles that turn, but that would enable you to still be able to do all those other actions on top of getting that other tile. I think that's it. So the game considers, so when I've been saying adjacent and sharing a side, the game calls that neighbors. So a tile that shares an entire side with another tile, that's a neighbor situation. And a space, the game doesn't really specify what a space is. A space is any square that would technically be taking up any blank space or filled space. So this right here, where this square is at, is a filled space, an occupied space. These squares right here, where a tile would technically fit, are called empty spaces. So the game will often say spaces. This is a space here, here, and this is a space. But specifically, this is an unoccupied space here and here. This is an occupied space. And those are all over the board. So like this is a space, this is a space, this is a space, this is a space. Those are all unoccupied spaces. So some cards will say, move your horse 3 spaces, empty spaces down. So you move it 1 space, 2 space, 3 space. The only way to know that is technically you would be able to take a tile and put it 1, 2, 3. All right, I want to see if I miss anything else. Yes, okay. So the way you get points as compatible creatures. I kind of already explained this, but I want to go over it one more time. So these tiles are all next to each other right here. I want to go into detail about this. So this is a tiger. This tiger has compatibility with horse, dog, and pig. So the way you complete a 2x2 square to collect these 4 tiles as 4 points is this tiger has to be compatible with the tile here and the tile here, its neighbors. So this horse is compatible with tigers. This dog is compatible with tigers. So that's taken care of. Now, this horse has to be compatible with this tile and this tile, its neighbors, to be considered compatible. So this tiger is compatible with horses, and this tiger is compatible with horses. Now you move on to the third tile here. This tiger has to be this horse, and this dog have to be compatible with tigers in order for this one to be good to go. This horse and this dog are compatible with tigers, so we're good there. Now finally, the 4th tile in this square, its neighbors have to be compatible with it in order for you to score this compatible creatures square. So tigers are both compatible with dogs. So you would claim that as your 4 points and put it over here. That's one way to get your points, and then the other way to get points is by attacking tiles. And then some tiles actually have actions on them that specifically say you collect points. Like this says if you have dogs in play, get a point. All right, I think that's the most detailed rules video that you can receive on this game. I really hope it helps. If I missed anything, ask in the comments, and I will make sure 100% to answer them. And as always, thank you for listening. I greatly appreciate it.